Lisa Robertson became a mum to baby Lucas in November 2023. She told PLZ Soccer that while her love for football remains strong, nothing compares to being a mother.
Hi, Lucas, who's this?
Welcome to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. We're joined by Hearts midfielder Lisa Robertson. Lisa, thanks for joining us to mark Mother's Day. We got a chance to meet the main man himself, Lucas, earlier on. Has he been able to watch you play yet?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm quite lucky that Lucas is at every single game, so I'm actually really lucky that he gets to see me play every week.
Have you started him on the football as well? Has he got a good touch, has he?
Well, he's got a left foot, which is a good start, and he actually started little kickers this morning, so yeah, hopefully that's a journey that's just beginning.
Can I just ask you, when you started your pregnancy journey, obviously you were at Celtic, was there anything that really was a sort of a main concern for you when you're thinking about going through that journey while still in the midst of your football career?
Yeah, obviously like the massive concern and worry is, will you ever get back playing? Because obviously carrying a child has loads of complications to your body. It's an incredible thing for your body to do, so to come back could be really difficult, and you never know what your birth's going to be like, you never know what your postpartum's going to look like, so you always have that worry. But I mean, if you're determined enough and you focus and you have the right support and the right programmes in place, you can go and have a family and come back and play. And that's what I'd say to anyone, that don't be scared of the ifs and buts or maybes, just go and do it, and then after it, then do your best and have the people around you and the right support, and then get yourself a good strategy coming back and get steps in place and not to rush it, and then you could definitely have the birth.
See, when you saw your body sort of obviously physically changing and going through that, was there any fear there that you thought, God, I might never get back?
Oh, absolutely. So like obviously in football, everyone's an athlete, everyone's fit. Like players have six packs, people have good quads, good calves, people have good upper body, and you're spending a whole year putting on about 3 stone, getting bigger, carrying a baby, retaining water, gaining more fat. Obviously what you have to, whether you eat healthy or don't eat healthy, whether you train during your pregnancy, don't, ultimately you're going to put on weight, you're carrying a baby, and your baby ultimately needs you to eat to support the baby's growth. So you obviously have a bit of a body image issue. Well, I felt like, oh geez, like I'm getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and everyone around me is an athlete at like a top level. But after I gave birth, and then I knew I was going to still have weight, but I was like, oh geez, like I've got more weight than what I'd imagined I'd have. So I thought that was quite hard after giving birth, because you just want to get back playing, but obviously you can't jump right back into it. You've got to look after yourself, you've got a child to look after now. So I actually thought that was a difficult part of pregnancy. After having Lucas, I was like, well, my belly's still here. So that was quite a challenge, but just by month, it slowly reduced. So I wouldn't let it put anyone off, but I'd be aware of it.
And you mentioned there the sort of the body image thing, and that's huge in society now, whether you're pregnant or not pregnant, and what people think that you should look like, and social media obviously adds to that and everything. Was that, when you went back training, obviously it was at Celtic at the time, did you really feel that when you were looking around at your teammates and things like that? Yeah,
of course, like everyone's like in a small kit and you're asking for a large kit, and everyone looks good and everyone's like posting photos of themselves, like some people in like sports bras and shorts and stuff, and you're trying to cover up head to toe because you're obviously not happy with your body. But I mean, the reward of having Lucas is well worth the sacrifice of putting your body through that and working hard to get your body back.
And when you were at Celtic, obviously at the time, how were they as a club in terms of dealing with the journey that you were going to be on, sort of during it and after it? Did you feel you got the support that you needed at that time from them?
I felt like it was kind of the unknown, because nobody had really went to Celtic pregnant, or like been at the club and got pregnant and had a baby and had a return to play. So I actually worked with a midwife and a strength and conditioning coach who was external. So they kind of supported me all the way through it and after it, which I'm really grateful for, because it allowed me to keep training while pregnant but doing the right things, knowing that my baby wasn't at risk, and then coming back postpartum, like obviously working on your pelvic floor and making sure it was strong enough to return to jumping, and then to return to running, and then to return to contact. So the support I got for the midwife, which was Pip and James, and he's the strength coach, like their partnership really helped me. And then there are obviously like people within the club, like there was like kind of like the welfare person, like Morag, she was really supportive of everything I was doing, and like had little goals set along the way, which really helped. Yeah, and the girls, they were obviously like absolutely buzzing for me, and like I think having your teammates support really helps, because you're going through a lot of changes. Your body's going through a lot of changes. You're up and down, you're feeling sick, you're not feeling sick, you've got full energy, you're not full energy, but I think they gave you a bit more energy, and it gave you like a purpose to going into football, because it'd be easy just to stay at home and just have your pregnancy away, but I wanted to stay in a football environment, and obviously I had good teammates around that I wanted to go in, and I wanted to keep training for me and to still be part of it.
How long did you train for during that journey when you were at Celtic?
So I trained right up to 3 days giving birth.
Wow.
So I was like for possession boxing and stuff, I was just a wall player. And then passing drills, I continued just doing stuff like that. And then I just like do jogging and stuff. And then I had like a workout plan in the gym that would help like my pelvic floor and stuff, maybe to help towards like giving birth and stuff, so that my body was prepared for it, and so that I was maintaining some like muscle memory and stuff. So then on my return, I don't know if it helped or if it didn't, but I believe it did. There's no obviously evidence to say if you didn't do it you wouldn't have got back or would have, or vice versa, but I felt like it put me in a good stead, and mentally like to come back, because I was still exercising all the way through.
Did that help you then? You say mentally there, did that help you having that training all the way through, so you were sort of keeping that part of your life fairly routine, but you had this huge other thing going on that was about to explode and change your whole life? No, I felt the routine was massive, like mentally, like to still be included was like a big part for me. And I absolutely love football, so there's no way that I could not kick a ball for like 9 months and not be around football for 9 months, because that's like, before I had Lucas, football was my life, so I couldn't just give that up. So I was quite determined that even if there was maybe people around the place that was like, don't actually think Lisa should maybe be here at this time, at this stage of your pregnancy, or like maybe was a bit ignorant towards the fact that you're pregnant and you can still exercise and it is good for your mental health. So any of that I kind of just shut out, and I was like, no, like this is the club that I play for, this is the job that I love doing, and I'm going to continue until I can't. And it never actually got to that point, because I was quite lucky during my pregnancy that I kept quite healthy, and it was great, as I say, mentally, and it was good to still be in the environment. That's quite interesting to hear that there was like some resistance to you still being there and doing all the things you've been doing before. Who would you say was your biggest supporter in that team at the time that you were in?
That's quite a good question, because there was obviously good supporters off the pitch, which I'd say was Morag, and then the girls, I'd say like Nats was really supportive. Her sister was pregnant similar times to me, so that was quite nice to speak about like how her journey was going, how my journey was going. And then Amy Gallagher's got a little niece, so she absolutely like loves like kids, and her sister had a baby at the start of the year, and then I had mine at the end of the year. So like before I could announce that I was pregnant, I was like, oh, like how's this stage going? Like how's she getting on? Like how's she feeling? Like, so she didn't really know, but I was kind of digging. So and then there was just like the whole group in general. Like it just gave everyone a lift, you know. Like it obviously gave me a lift, but I didn't say it was like, oh, that person absolutely stuck out. But because to be fair, every girl was pretty good with it, and they were all excited for me. So I was actually really lucky with the group of girls that I went through my journey with.
There's this saying that we hear sort of often in women's football, where it's if you can't see it, you can't be it. And I suppose when you think about female players, you know, becoming parents and going through a pregnancy, if you've not got someone to look at and go, they did it this way, or this is their difficulties and things like that, how did you find that? Was there anyone that you sort of looked at to kind of mirror what you were going to be doing, what you were going to go through? No,
it actually wasn't. So I just wanted to be on my own journey, to be honest. And like you say, if you can't see it, you can't be it. So I hope that like now that I've done it, that people can see it and it is visible. Because even still, I'm not sure if half the league would even know I'm a mum, because it is still kind of hidden. Like,
is that on purpose? Do you keep that sort of separate?
No, because I'm proud of my son, like proud of having a family, but I just don't think there's any attention on it because it's only like a short minority of people that actually do it. So no, I think it could be more visible, it could be spoken about, because obviously people have the theory, oh, like if I have a baby, if I don't come back, that's my career over. Or I'll wait till after my career, then have a baby. But who's to say that you're going to stop your career, say if you play to mid-30s and fall pregnant right away? Like you never know what your journey is going to be like, because everyone's looks different. So I would encourage people, if they feel like they're in the right place, to start a pregnancy journey, to start it now. Like don't hold off thinking, oh, I'll wait until after we've won the league, or I'll wait until after I've won a Scottish Cup, because it's never perfect. It's never going to pan out like that. So if you're in the right place, like with your family and your partner and stuff, then don't put it off, because you can make it back. Because who's to say later on, older you get, that your body is going to accept what you want.
Absolutely.
And while you're fit, for me that's the best time to do it.
Absolutely. Did you always want to be a mum? Did you always have that in your mind?
Yeah, I've always wanted to be a mum.
Yeah.
I've always had an image of being a mum and having my son at the side of the park. Like that's like my biggest thing. Like I've won leagues, I've won Scottish Cups, I've played in Champions Leagues, like I've played in England, I've played for my country. But the proudest thing for me is having my son.
And how did you get the confidence, to say, actually I'm going to enjoy both parts of these, I'm not going to make a choice, I want all of it?
So obviously I'm quite happy with my partner, and we just felt like it was a good time and the right time for him and for me to have a family. But obviously you're a bit nervous, like going into a club to say, by the way, I'm going to be out for the best part of a year and a half. But I just think, like, you put football first your whole life. Like, you sacrifice small things to big things. You don't go on family holidays, you don't go to weddings, you don't see people, you don't go out, you sacrifice what you eat, you look after yourself so well to get to an elite level. So I felt like it was time to do something that I wanted to do. And I was quite happy with everything that I'd done in my career up until then, and I felt like this was the only thing that I really had left to do. So I say, because I was in a good place in my relationship, that we were let's make the next step and have a family. And I knew that he would support me, so it didn't really matter what anyone else at football, or if they did or didn't support me, because I had to have the support of him, and I had to have a family at the end, and it doesn't really matter what anyone else would have thought.
And when you eventually did return to the pitch, I think I'd read that you thought you'd returned earlier than you thought you might have at Celtic. And when you came back, did you expect that relationship with Celtic to continue? Were you disappointed when it didn't? Yeah,
of course. You don't ever go into something thinking it's going to end. So my return to play was quicker than what we had planned, but that was because all the right steps were taken. I followed the programme, the right tests were done. First of all, pelvic floor stuff was done, the jumps and landing prevention, injury prevention was done, the running cardio on the pitch was done, then contact, and if full contact was done, then I made my return. And that was obviously coming to the end of the season, because it was April, yeah. So it was obviously the middle of April, so the season was coming to a close. So I kind of felt that time was against me as well, because I was I wanted to showcase that I can still play football even though after having a baby, before the season ended. So that was kind of in the back of your mind as well, because in football nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah. Why was that important to you? It seems like it was something did you have something to prove to yourself or to other people?
Both. I wanted to prove to myself that you can get back, and I wanted to prove to other people that you can get back as well, and it is possible. And obviously, as I said, everyone's time frames and everyone's journey is different, so don't think Lisa was back after 4 or 5 months, I'll be back after 4 or 5 months. Your journey might be 3 months, your journey might be 9 months, but when you're ready to go, you'll know. So it was important to me to get back on the pitch, because I was working so hard, getting through each step, so I was just so eager to get back on the pitch before the season had ended. I wanted to be part of a team that was also going to win the league. When I had been at Celtic for a number of years, and I won the Scottish Cup and numerous other things, and qualified for Champions League, so I also part of me wanted to be part of that as well, because I'd won the league previously years ago, and it had been a while since I had done it, so I was like, no, I want to see, I want to be part of that team that lifts the cup, and I want to be doing that with my son. So that was kind of an extra motivation to have Lucas sat on top of the cup at the end of the season.
Yeah, so making that bit of history as well, was that a part of it? Did you, so I imagine when you went back out onto the pitch, that was really a huge moment for you. Was there any nerves when you went into sort of maybe the first tackle or the first contact or something like that, where you were like, you know, just...
I wasn't nervous, because there's so many other emotions that take over, because you're like happy, like to be back on the pitch, you're excited, you're proud, like, so I just think there's so many emotions going through you. And the biggest thing for me was like my first touch, because like I like having the ball, like so I was like, right, get your first pass, like get yourself settled. So I just wanted to make sure like my first touch, my first pass went well, and then after that, like just take it for theirs and generally start to find my feet again.
And when you think of female footballers, there's some, you know, there's higher numbers now of female footballers becoming parents, particularly down in England, but there's not as many as in other countries. Do you think there's still a sort of an unconscious thought that maybe you can't have both?
Yeah, there will be, definitely. Because you don't know, like, if your contract's coming to an end, you don't know if you're going to get another contract. If you don't get back as quick as a club want you to get back, you don't know if you're going to be kept at the club. Like, you don't know if you're going to get back. Like, so there's definitely loads. You don't know if you're going to be able to juggle mum life and football. Do you know what I mean? Football's demanding. A kid's also demanding. A baby's demanding. So it might come to it that you're like, oh my God, I couldn't do sleepless nights and go and train every day and stuff. So I think there's loads of barriers. Like, we train at certain times, there's no flexibility. Like for example, if you're working in an office or if you work from home, like you can open your laptop up at 10 and log off at 6 or whatever, but if training's at 10, you have to be there at 10. They're not going to change the pitch times. Whereas, so I find that can also like be difficult because it's so rigid and there's no room for flexibility. Whereas if you're in an hour job, you could cram hours into 3 days, for example, and have a couple of days with your kid, or you could log on around your kid's nap, or you could like drop off and pick ups or like can be shared and stuff. I said, but whereas football, people were like, well, it has to be at this time, you have to do that, you are having sleepless nights, you are lower energy, so it's obviously has its barriers to coming back and feeling like the player that you were before.
Given, you know, what a huge life change it is having a child, do you find it sort of difficult sometimes to relate to some of your teammates who are not in that stage of life, or maybe some of your younger teammates?
I don't find it difficult to relate because I've obviously been their age.
Yeah.
But I just think like, wow, like you think you're tired.
Yes. I can imagine.
So I find it quite crazy when someone says that they're tired, but they're going home for a nap, or they had a nap before they arrived and stuff. I don't find it difficult to relate, but I just find it quite funny that some of the things that, like, when you might think they're tired but actually not, or they might think they've got a busy life when they've actually not. Yeah, so I don't find it difficult. I just find it like different stages of life. You have different opinions and different feelings and different priorities. It's actually more funny because you're like, oh, well, wait till you get to this stage, or your body's sore. I'm like, I'm sure your body's sore. So it's not. It's more a laugh, and it can be turned into good humour, like and just keep like things light-hearted.
This is quite a broad question, so don't worry about it. But is your perspective on life in general changed, and towards your career as well since you've had Lucas? Yeah,
it has, because obviously, as I said, before I had Lucas, football was my life, but now Lucas is my life, and that's my priority. So I also think like you go to your work, like as in I go to Hearts and I give it absolutely everything, but then I used to come away from football and maybe things would fester and I'd be like, oh my God, like we never got the outcome of the session that we wanted, like we never answered the question it did, and stuff would linger and you'd get a bit like, oh, and it would just stay with you, and football would stay with you and stay with you. Whereas I actually think it's in a good way that I can walk away from training and have a different focus and have Lucas. So it still makes me care as much, but there's things that I'd maybe get uptight about or like take home with it. Now I'm like, no, that's actually not that big an issue.
Yeah.
Like, whereas before, because that's your sole focus, it would be an issue for you, or it would like annoy you. Whereas like when that's there, that is like annoying or whatever. But when you go home and you've got a son and it brings you so much joy, whatever happened there now doesn't actually matter. It's now like him that matters, and that actually helps keep you happy. Like, it brings so much joy just going home to your kid.
Yeah, the things that were maybe seemed big before now seem small.
Definitely,
Is there anything that you wish that someone had told you before before you started your pregnancy journey, or are you kind of glad that maybe there's some things that you didn't get told?
But giving birth,
well,
I'm glad
that's the
that
obvious
one. No, I don't think there is actually, because I actually didn't mind like how everything went, and there's obviously things you would change, but there's nothing that stands out to me that makes me think, oh, I wish I knew that. Because someone could tell me something and that might not be the case for me. So like, you could obviously advise people on that, but you could never actually be told anything, because it's so different for everyone.
What's your favourite thing about being a mum?
My favourite thing about being a mum? Just the happiness and joy that it gives me, like just going home and him running to me, giving me a big cuddle, like, yeah, just having a bond with and love for a child, like for a small person that you carried and gave birth to. Like, just always having someone to be proud of, and always having someone looking up to you.
What surprised you most, if anything, surprised you about becoming a parent?
What surprised me the most? Just how much from family really is important, how much love and, like I say, joy, and it gives you, and how much other things don't actually matter. And that like your focus is just your kid. Like, I don't know, that's probably my biggest surprise is now like things don't matter, things don't annoy me, things don't bother me, because I have everything I want in Lucas.
Do you prefer yourself now as a parent as to when you think back?
Definitely.
Before, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It shapes you into a better person, I'd say, because you give everything to like your family, and there's more of your focus is on your family. So I'd say, yeah, definitely shapes you to be a better person, and yeah, your sacrifices are all worth it.
What would you say to someone who was at the beginning of this journey and going into it as a female footballer that's wanting to become a parent and also then return to football? Is there anything specific that you could give advice, or just? I
would just say, like, first of all, like, I think it's amazing the journey you're about to go on. Don't put pressure on anything. Like, your pregnancy will have ups and downs, but at the end of it, you'll get your reward. And on the return to play, like I said before, like, never rush anything. Everyone's journey is totally different, but with the right support, trust what you've been told. Like, if someone does say like, oh, it's going to be like 6 months, then just take it month by month. Like, don't look too far ahead, and be around the right people. I think having the right people and the right network around you is probably the biggest advice I'd give for someone. So if you're with people who give you the support and give you the energy, give you the encouragement, pick you up when you're down, then nothing else will matter, and that will get you back on the pitch.
I can't let you go, obviously, without talking about Hearts. You're having an excellent season. The results that you've had against, Hibs, Celtic, Rangers, Glasgow City. How do you enjoy working under Eva Olid? What's she like on the training pitch as a character?
Oh, she's brilliant. She's like very focused. Her detail is like second to none. Like, like the way she coaches and the way she plays football, I actually love. Like, that was one of my reasons like for going to Hearts, is like that she wants to play football. She wants it to look good. She wants to score goals. She wants to keep clean sheets. But I'd say like the detail and the structure and stuff that she's installed in Hearts is obviously gave us a good platform, and you can see that because we're getting results against teams that Hearts might not have got last season. So you can see the improvements year on year on year that she's done at that club. So it's quite rewarding now being part of it, and to see her picking up results that she might not have picked up in the past, because I see her on the training pitch every day, and I know how much it means to her, and I know exactly what she wants out of the group of players that we have. And
Hearts have improved massively, and sort of from the outside looking in, it looks like it's sort of came out of nowhere, and I hope you don't mind me saying as well, Hibs have also improved this season for where they are. Is that as much as a surprise inside the camp as it is to maybe some people outside looking on?
No, because I think inside the camp we work hard, and like we know our goals for the start of the season to the end of the season. And as you say, like it might be a surprise, but we work week in, week out. We started the journey in pre-season, and we obviously knew it wasn't going to just happen during the course of pre-season, that gradually the more we trained, the more we played, the more we learned our roles, the more we learned about each other. Come this time of the year, that it would all start to click, and I feel like we are starting to click, and you can see that journey started way back in July, because now we're finally starting to get small rewards here and there, starting to get points where we might not have necessarily got points before. So I actually think that it's not a surprise. It might be a surprise to everyone else, but I know how hard like Eva and Pascal work to transfer that into players. I know how much the players want to learn and take it onto the pitch. So it's not a surprise, but it's good that it's finally coming at this stage of the season, because obviously it's a crucial point of the season.
Would you say, if you look back at sort of the different clubs that you've played for in Scotland and the spells that you've had, is this the most competitive league season that you've been involved in, do you think?
Absolutely, yeah. Obviously when I was at Hibs, it was just Hibs and Glasgow City, and then same when I was at Glasgow City, it was like Hibs and Glasgow City competing. And then obviously I was played at Celtic, and it was like, people say the so-called top three, but for me it actually was the top three, because unfortunately Hibs and Hearts had fell away at that point, and it was Glasgow City, Rangers and Celtic competing. But now I could honestly say that it's like a top five. Mathematically it's a top five. Obviously there is a points difference between like Hearts, Celtic and Rangers and stuff, but I think there's going to be loads of twists and turns because it is that competitive, which I think's brilliant. Like, who wants to go into the last 9 games knowing that you're not playing for anything, or one team's already won the league? Like, what does that attract? I feel like with it being so competitive, like people do speak about it, and the more people speak about it, the more people tune into it and watch it, and then the more support we'll get. So I actually think it's really exciting, and it's probably the most competitive league that I've played in Scotland. So yeah, it's good.
When you talk about the competitive element, do you enjoy that top 6, bottom 6 split? Do you like that in the league?
Yeah. Obviously the bottom 6, they're all good teams within their own rights. They all pose different challenges. Like when you play them, you're obviously playing against like different formations, different styles of play. So you can't disregard them, because if you don't actually do your job in the first half of the season, you don't make the top 6. So, but then when it comes to the top 6, it's obviously done by the best top 6 teams in the country, and it is great that you want to be playing against them, that you want your last games to be against the top teams, and you want a good run in, and I feel like that's what the league's given us this year. So, not like me personally and Hearts as a club, like we love these sort of games, like week in, week out.
It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today, Lisa, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.